Well, Bob, as you know, this is a significant time of life.
Yes,
You've made it to a milestone that a lot of people don't get to.
very lucky guy.
So congratulations on your 100th birthday.
Thank you very much.
So even though you've told this story many times to a lot of people who know you, just for what we're doing here today, tell us, I mean, why do you think you've lived to 100?
I'm very, very lucky. First of all, inherited really good genes. None of these diseases are on either side of my parents or their family. All hard-working dairy farmers brought up on raw milk. And then I went mother a bunch of wonderful women all my life, very loving, caring, totally devoted. And then I went through World War II with an angel on my back.
So obviously you served your country for many, many years,
Yeah.
and we want to talk a little bit about your role with Sertoma here today.
Okay.
As a Sertoman, we know that it stands for service to mankind.
Yeah.
So tell us again, how did you get to start Sertoma here in St. Cloud?
Well, I was living in this house over here, and I was out in the yard one day, and the car drove up, and the guy got out, introduced himself. I was given he got my name from a friend of mine in Rochester because they just chartered a club down there, and I had a guilty conscience because there were a lot of salesmen in St. Cloud, and I thought people that are taking business out of this town ought to be putting something back into it. And so I was going to join the Exchange Club, but they blackballed me twice. And so I was kind of irate about that.
Yeah.
And the more he talked about Sertoma, the more I thought this was a real good deal. And so I called, I think it was 6 of my friends, and we met out at what was then Swigham's Motel. And 4 of those 6 decided to go along. And we had a couple of guys who didn't mind put the pressure on people.
Mm-hmm.
L's Electric, for example. He was working for the Smiths Distributing, and George Smith, you want to get paid? Join Sertoma. So it turns out Al was the secretary,
Okay.
and he had the same deal with people. These guys didn't have any question about putting the pressure on people, and I was a traveling salesman, so I had a chance to talk to a lot of people and explain what Sertoma was about. So we chartered September 1st, 1959 with 76 members as a breakfast club.
So from the day that the person knocked on your door until September 1st
Yeah.
of 1959, how much time did it take you and those original guys to get that many members?
Well, it took whatever that time amounted to, and we talked to people. And
Was that about a year?
oh no, it's
or
from
just a couple months.
I would say it's probably from July to September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a guy knocks on your door and
Yeah.
says, "We'd like you to start a Sertoma club." You
Yeah.
had never met him,
Nope,
just some stranger,
that's right.
and you say yes. And because of that, you get a few friends, and suddenly a few months later, 79 members are chartered into the first ever St. Cloud Sertoma club.
Right,
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and we had a breakfast club,
Okay.
and it was we met at the press bar in the basement, and this was sometime in February. It was 17 below zero, and about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, and 2 guys and me showed up, and the program didn't show up, and we had been decreasing all the time. These guys kept falling out, so we decided to switch to Thursday noon at what was then the St. Cloud Hotel. And people started going back in all the time. And the president of the Exchange Club saw me on the street and knew the situation we were in. And he says, "Keep going, 'cause it'll come out," because he had gone through the same thing with Exchange. And so we kept building on it, and it got back up and got going again.
So you were the first president,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So in September 1st of 1959, you started this club, and of
Yeah.
course you just became president.
Yeah.
What are some of the other offices that you've done? What
Well,
tell
then,
us just some of the work you've done through your life at Sertoma.
well, then I was chairman of the board the next year, of course. And of course, my claim to fame is fruitcake sales.
Fruitcakes.
Yeah.
I want to hear about
What's
fruitcakes.
tell us about the fruitcakes, Bob.
Well, I was a traveling salesman, so I could talk to people, you know. And I knew the guys who were civic-minded and who would buy. And there was 3 or 4 guys that would buy a case. And there was one couple that wanted 5 cakes and they ate them for the whole year. And a lady from Little Falls drove down to buy 2.
Wow.
I mean, it was a funny thing, you'd get this response, well, I already got a doorstop, and I already got a good anchor for my boat. It holds the boat real good in the waves and the wind and all that kind of stuff. So no, I don't want it. But then I keep talking about it because it was a good fruitcake. It really wasn't at the right price. And finally these guys Tom Ritchie at what do you call it? He'd put it out for his employees for coffee for all the time. And Hinkemeyer, he took it around and gave it to the nursing home. And George and John Smith gave it to the Poor Clares, a case, So I wound up selling about 13 cases every year.
So you've been a mentor to many people, Bob, just by saying yes in 1959.
Well, I never considered myself a mentor, but if they happened to I do something right and they saw it.
Yeah. But clearly it is something that anytime I bring a guest to our club, I do want to make sure that they meet you,
Well,
as I did today with
That's
Luke.
nice.
You're a fine man and a great friend, and I'm so glad that I have met you.
Thank my wife. She trained me.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say about Sertoma or service to your community at all?
Well, one of the things that convinced me to join was that this is a social club, but it had to have a fundraiser and it had to have a project. And I liked that.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what motivated me to get into it. Yeah.
How did you meet your wife? You had this big World War II history, and I was trying to figure out how did she fit in here?
I was a senior at the University of Wisconsin. It was Easter of 1941, like it was yesterday. And I was home from Madison. Her cousin, who was a good friend of mine, was home from Marquette. And there was a couple other college kids home, and we all went out to the Chatterbox, which was at the Dobbin Hotels in Waiwega, and they had a nice dance floor and jukebox in the basement. And so we were dancing. All of a sudden, it was nearly the last dance. I haven't danced with Bill's cousin. Wow. She was just like a feather in your arm. She could really dance. And then that went by, and then we went back to school, and she had nurses training in Marshfield with St. Joseph's Hospital, which is kind of the Mayo Clinic of northern Wisconsin. And she interned at a TB stand in Milwaukee and then got a job in Madison General. And I was going with a girl in Chicago at the time. And I had her up there for a homecoming, and my roommate had Marguerite. Well, my dad told me a long time ago, one of the first things is you start with the girl, plan to marry her, and the minute you decide you don't want to, bust it off. You may hurt somebody's feelings, but you're doing her a favor, as well as keeping yourself from getting trapped. Mm-hmm. So I finally got south side of Chicago, I don't know, I decided. And so I'm sitting there, and I thought, I'll give Marguerite a ring. So I did, and from that time on, this was probably after Christmas of 1941. And my orders to active duty were January 29th of 1942. And I think we either talked on the phone or dated every other night at least. And then we corresponded all the time. I was in the infantry school, and I got back to Camp Croft, South Carolina. And she came down to visit me, and 6 months later we were married. And 11 months later I left for overseas, and she was pregnant. And she wrote me every day for almost 2 years. Devotion beyond your imagination. And she was also pregnant. And people would say, some did, aren't you sorry now that you're pregnant? What if you don't come home? I'll always have something to remember in life. And she's been that devoted all our lives.
So what was your wedding day? What date?
March 13th, 1943.
Okay, so that's 72 years?
Yes. Yep.
72 years this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. This is a picture of me making a ceremonial first drive at the Tee It Up for the Troops fundraiser out at the Country Club last year. they had a World War II guy make that drive, and fortunately I hit it pretty good. This is a picture of me as the commanding officer of Battery B of the Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion that I was with all through World War II. This is a picture of me still in the States at World War II.
And then certificate already.
Yeah, I just presented I gave him a day, so it's his day. So
You did?
Oh yeah, so we don't have 365 days. I only give a person one day. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know how we'd ever get if somebody wanted somebody else's day. I don't know how we do that. So,
We'll just
in
have
10
to
years,
cross
I haven't
that
done
path.
365. Yeah, we'll see how that
Yeah.
happens when we come across that.
Did you tell me they're going to read this over the PA system?
They're gonna do a little announcement.
Yep, I can tell you what it's. So is it Bob Nicol Day?
It is, yes. You might want to radio up there and
Yeah.
tell them it's his
I didn't
day.
even know that was
I officially
happening.
declared it a day.
Is it okay?
So you didn't find out about your official day until later in the day. So it's a quarter day, but
He still has a few hours
that's
left
right.
of
You
his
still have a
day.
few hours, and then it repeats, next year. So it's still that day every year.
Well,
So
then if I'd have known about it, I wouldn't have been able to sleep my nap.
yeah, see we'll see now next year that'll be the official day. So it's Bob Nicol Day today. Today is Bob Nicol Day all day, which means free parking on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
It's downtown. That's all right. That's even better. So you can have
Is
free
it
parking
live? Can I
wherever.
make my chamber connection announcement?
You got the other
Double
ones?
party.
Hey Bob,
My day.
this is the baseball.
there you go.
You get to keep it afterwards too, okay?
Interchangeable.
You can't steal it from him.
China. They all are. Here's the other ball you gave
My
us.
grandparents were made in Scotland.
We're all here for a reason. Okay. Original president of the St. Cloud Area Sertoma Club, a lifetime member of the St. Cloud Country Club, and most importantly, a World War II veteran. Bob has just recently celebrated his 100th birthday on April 9th and will be honored with a Lifetime Achievement of Community Service by St. Cloud Mayor Dave Kleiss. Everyone, please welcome Bob Nicol. And then that's when you get a throw.
And add the day. Tell 'em add
Yeah, I radioed up, so we'll see. That one's not in my script.
Nice job, Bob.
Actually, yeah, Larry's going out there too.
That's okay.
Nice job, bud.
So the youngster after you, he was 2 years old and he had a job, but they didn't let him throw it out. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go eat. Did you have any food yet up there? Okay.
Hey, Robert, great job.
Only 2 bounces.
Oh, you'd have had people waving at it all night long. Good job. Thanks again for your service.